One of the issues a lot of people have with doing router sleds, whether it's using the Woodpecker or any other ones you have, is dust collection. I work within my shop here to try to do this. I've got a lot of stuff coming up. It's partly why I bought this slab flattening mill to begin with. Is I've got a lot of stuff coming up. I pulled it out the other day and I just did a small cookie, 24 by about 29 inches, a little bit oblong. It was actually kind of cool. It had three centers in it where it come together. I'll try to throw a picture up. It actually looks pretty cool. Now, when I did that, even though it was just a very small piece, and in the back here you can see this plastic, I use these zip wall and try to contain it a little bit. I did that on 3 sides, so I'm not in complete baggy, but the entire shop is covered in fine dust. So something I always intended on doing once I got this is to do that. So here's what I'm going to come up with, what I came up with, and hopefully it works. One of the things with these handles is that it screws off and it's got a little spacer, probably about a 1/2 inch spacer. So I made some 1/4 inch plywood, and so that goes on either side. Got that one, this one, and kind of use that as my framework to get started with. So I've got almost all of my boards cut out here, or pretty dang close to what I need to. I've got a piece that's coming in here, another one on the back side, and then on either side I've got another piece. So that gives me kind of an even skirting all the way around. So I'll put that together. I've got a 4-inch dust port that I kind of fitted in there. I'll get this all fitted in, and then we'll go to the next step. So my next step is I picked up some of this 3-inch skirt for CNC machines, and my plan is I picked up some of the 1-inch industrial Velcro. My plan is to apply Velcro on 4 sides now. It's not going to contain it completely. You'll have areas underneath here, but if I get my dust collector set up and I got a decent suction up on this, I should be able to get the bulk of the stuff picked up. And even if I can't get the big chips, it's that fine dust that I'm hoping to get some of that picked up. So I'm short one. I ordered this out and I am 1 section short, so I ordered out a new one. It'll be here in a couple of days, so I'll go ahead and get this put on, and then I'll do some testing. So one of the things I came across when I was working on this was not wanting to set up a giant 4x8 sled on this. And I went and checked, and I've got my clamps for my Festool stuff. I put one of the clamps on and it actually slid into this track underneath, and the other ones didn't, so it was just ever so slightly. So I actually just took and put it on the just a little bit of edge on this, just a little belt fender. Still doesn't compromise the track. And then I can clamp these into place. I can put it on. It gives me some variety of stuff to put stuff on. The other thing is I can do a, I believe it's a 5/16 bolt will fit up underneath here. So if I actually wanted to bolt it down, so if I'm doing the long piece, and in my other video I talked about how I didn't like that, you know, possible flexing in that, is I can drop some bolts in this and then bolt through the plywood or whatever I decide to. I've got a Polk workbench that I built that I could drop those in there and just put some washers and clamp it to that. So gives me some other options to securing this other than the ends, which the ends work fine sometimes, but it just gives, I guess, some other options to do. So just another thing that I figured out working on this. All right, I'm ready to give this thing a try for the first time. So I got these little sweeps on with Velcro. One of the things I noticed that I probably have to, and I kind of knew that, is actually put more sticky so I can adjust the height on this as I go along. So for now, I think it'll work. We'll see how much collection we have, and yeah, we'll give it a shot. And I've got basically the same setup that I had. I've got this baggie set up from the last cookie that I did, and then I got two small ones that I'm going to do two sides on, and it'll be kind of probably equivalent routing to what I did before. I did do a picture of that. I don't have any video, but I did a picture of that, and I'll share that up at some point and hopefully get a comparison of. I'm expecting a fair improvement. I'm not expecting 100% on this, but we'll give it a shot and see what we can come up with. So this is a picture from beforehand without dust collection, and this is afterwards, so pretty significant difference. So overall, I'm pretty happy with this addition that I made to the slab mill. It's far from perfect, but my guess is I'm collecting about 60 to 70% of the overall. I think there's a couple of things I can do to improvements, and I'll keep working on that. But it's a relatively simple build that can be moved around, changed up. I didn't have to do any changes to what I had, and the one thing it does do is it picks up most of the fine dust, and that was the one thing was most concerned about, was the fine dust. The big stuff, depending on which direction I'm going with the router, makes it a difference. So if I'm in this setup, if I'm coming from the this side, which would be when I'm facing it, the left side, and pulling and then moving across, I get better pickup and dust collection than I do when I'm pushing it, and that's just because of where the location of or actually the direction of the router and the location of the dust collector. Now if I came to the other side, I think if I pushed, I think that's going to push more into the dust collector if I'm coming from this side going across. So I will try that a little, I'll mess with it a little bit. I think if I really wanted to like do a bunch of modifications, but it would be really changing this mill around, and I'm not sure I want to do that, as I actually could shorten this base up, which would enclose, make a smaller opening. I know when I get out to the edges I'm losing a lot, but right now I'm almost 6 inches off center for my skirt on either side, so when I'm off the board, I'm getting more dust and chips blowing off there. Now I am going to try, I did order out a new carbide style bit with the indexable carbide, like a shield nickel head. So that's coming. I'm going to try that and see how that works on the end grain, and yeah, we'll go from there.